capacity, how well I can. Usually it's between like, sometimes it reaches 83, 84, but we did not see really in the last 20 years someone who passed like 90 or 95. And it goes down up to 60 and sometimes less than 60%. But the interesting thing is the difference between this slide that we are not always aware of and this one, which is the current level of achieving results. And if you notice here, results can go far beyond the 100%. It's nice results, interesting, they are very powerful, attracting people usually encourage, but they are not relevant. So in their like hidden part, these are distortions from approaching the vision or applying the strategy. So this is something that is really interesting. I would like to share the difference between the performance, which is the rate of growth towards a certain vision, and achieving results. Results are usually what we focus on, what people encourage us. So what we try to do is to analyze how we perform at that level. We see in organizations and individuals as a dynamic, as a system dynamic. What does that mean? Connectivity and percentages that vary from one individual to the other. And during the last 20 years, we have never found any identical report. Every report is completely different, even if we behaviorally look the same, but you see the differences in the way we are motivated, in the way we measure things, in the way we believe in things, in the way we see opportunities, we neglect things. This is how it works. So what we try to do to realize, or what makes this complexity is really difficult to detect or to work on, two things. One, realizing the true power of everything that forms the current level of success. And the second thing, which is deeper than realizing by observing the behavior, is understanding the connectivity as a cause-effect relationship between variables. For example, if we both need to improve our timely decision-making, we attend the same program, we go to the same coach, it might work with someone and not with the other. Why? Because of this complexity. My reasons are different than your reasons. My beliefs are different. So what we try to do is to understand the unique complexity or system dynamic for every single individual case, either individuals or organizations. How we define complexity? Simply speaking, it's the 80 variables that we measure, and sometimes companies add more or individuals may add more, but our model has 80 variables that we scan. These 80 variables form the current level of success. And what makes it complex is, number one, the differences in the percentages as we see, and the second thing is the connectivity, how these variables are connected with each other, like correlations, significantly, slightly, highly, negatively, positively. And the interesting thing, there is no logic in that, and sometimes we have two variables significantly and positively correlated in one individual, and the same variables can be negatively correlated with another person. This is the model that we are using, and this is how we form the solution when it comes to design the solution for coaching reasons or for individual executives or for companies. So what we try to measure, number one, performance. Our definition for performance is the rate of growth towards a certain vision in your career, in your relationship, in life in general, in organizations, in whatever. What are the features of performance? Features of the performance, we say it's easy to know, but it's difficult to copy or to duplicate. If you think of celebrities, for example, the football players, their level of performance or rate of growth or success is known for everyone, but it's difficult to copy. Even in the same team, they cannot copy the same performance. We divide performance between personal indicators that we put for ourselves, or the company put them for their own. And this is, we usually have these indicators when we have a strategy, versus external indicators. What we notice, the majority follow external indicators. But here we have a problem. The external indicators set by the family, society, organization, friends, relationships, they do not measure my rate of success. They measure how well I'm fulfilling the expectations in this common area. But when you put your own indicators, you include all the stakeholders. So this is more powerful, stronger, more comprehensive, and so on. So the question that we try to answer is, what is the current level? What is the construct of the current level of performance? Simply speaking, why I perform at that level? Because I behave this way. What we mean by behavior, everything that is observed is a behavior, where we put individual or personal competencies on one side plus professional competencies that are related to the job or the role, even social roles. So we divide the behavior, what you want to do versus what you should do in response to the environment, to the families, the society, the organization, any stakeholders. What we assess at the behavioral level, one, things that you do with efficiency and effectiveness. And these are always the reasons behind the current level of success. Uh, we can say that they are personal strength, unique personal strength, because the uniqueness comes from the differences. If we both have decision making as a strength, but still your way is different than my way. And we assess things that you do with efficiency, but they are not so effective. The indicators up there did not reflect their effectiveness. Why we do them? It's a comfort zone. It's a trend. This is how we used to work. And they are not so effective, and these are considered like gaps. And we see things that are extremely over focused and they cause stress for the individual or for others around him. On the other side, we assess things that are underestimated where people lose opportunities. And to answer the question why we behave this way, it means why we focus here, we over focus there, we take this as a comfort zone, we neglect these areas. So we go one level deeper, we call it motivational level. Motive for us is a reason, and the reason is connected with a feeling through a perceived value. If I don't feel it as a value, it will not be a motive for me. We divide the motivation between internal motives that drive us towards what I want to, and on the other side, external motivation that drives us towards what I should do. And both can be by gain or by pain. By gain, for example, I study harder or I work harder in order to be promoted to gain more money, or I work harder not to be laid off or to avoid conflict with my manager and so on. And then we analyze the motivational level. Why is it constructed that way? And we go one level deeper. We call it the conceptual level. And this is where we have very unique personal understanding of life. We have blank area, no definition, like people in the street. They are in the blank area. They are good, bad, perfect, not perfect, smart or not smart. It's not in my interest to know even. But things move from the blank area, and I start to have a personal understanding based on the impact and the duration in my life. So they start first by being in the gray area, and we call it ill-defined, when we form an idea, but it's not strong or clear enough to be reflected at the motivational level. And with the continuation of that object, it goes to the clearly defined items. And I would say that this is where we feel like which motive we follow. I mean, if you ask me the simple question, what motivation do people follow, external, internal, by gain, by pain? I would say that people follow the motive that they think have the most impact on them, even if it's not the truth. The clearly defined items is a key in the journey towards success, because actually the personal beliefs and the personal understanding of things can vary from the extreme accurate to the extreme inaccurate. Where do we get the inaccuracy from? From any trends, social trends, industry trends, others' experiences, my previous experiences. So we assume that this is the way it is. But the accuracy comes when we consolidate the meaning, when we investigate. So simply speaking, everything that is clearly defined in my perception will have a motive, or will have a reflection at the motivational level. And the motive goes up to a certain level, and if I have the opportunity, the power, the resources, switch to an action at the behavioral level. And all the actions that we behaviorally do, they bring indicators. These indicators will work like automatic feedback to update my understanding. And updating the conceptual level will change the motive towards the same item. Changing the motive will bring different behavior. The new behavior will bring new indicators, and then they work again as an automatic feedback. We consider this as a continuous process, and this is how we increase wisdom, knowledge, experience in life, in relationship, in career, in whatever it is. So our assessment, we take 80 variables, they are connected together, and we analyze each variable at these 4 levels. So this is why when we design a personal plan for executives, or when we design a solution for our organization, it can be indicators at the performance level, it can be coaching or training programs, and it comes like customized or tailored programs based on the analysis. At the behavioral level, it can be motives. I have the ability to do something, but I'm not interested. I'm not motivated to do it. Or it can be inaccurate beliefs or inaccurate understanding. Some companies struggle for diversity and inclusion, and when we examine them, we realize that at the conceptual level, the meaning itself it has a problem. Some companies struggle, for example, for turnover rate, and they do a lot of efforts at the behavioral level, but things don't happen because they did not tackle the causes underneath the behavioral level, which is stronger, more effective, more realistic to tackle. But you cannot do that unless you understand the connectivity, how it works as a system dynamic, as we said. So these two levels, the lower level, at the personal level, we call them attitude. Attitude is my beliefs, my understanding, and my motives, how I feel towards different things in the context. But what we over-focus on, the behavioral skills, the behavioral know-how, the behavioral should be done, and so on, and the performance. At the company level, these two levels, we call them organizational culture. We don't see the company culture. We see how employees interact behaviorally with each other internally in the company or externally in the market, and we see the performance. So the connectivity among these four levels form a very unique system for every individual, form a very unique system for every company. I would say that things or good things happen when we have both together. Efficiency, things are being done with the right know-how, with the accuracy, with the according to the industry standards, with the right skills, and the effectiveness that comes from like fulfilling the expected results of these actions. Here we can see two types of reports, individual reports, the upper side, the individual report, and the same variables, we assess them for companies. And as you see, the company is a little bit more sophisticated. So you assess both variables or each variable at two levels. The bar charts is the behavioral, the company behavioral, how the company behave, how they focus on, over focus on. And the background in green color, it reflects the company culture, which is the collective attitude and the value perceived from using or focusing or over focusing on each of these variables. The reports or our reports come with these 5 colors. I mean, all the variables can appear in one of these 5 colors. Gray, it's measures below the 50%. And even if you take this like coaching programs, development solutions, people are not interested because, as we said, in the gray area, it's ill-defined. And the interesting part, sometimes you see people even in a program when it comes to talking about something in the gray area, like some people have a vision in the gray area. It's on the website. So they take it as an opportunity. Okay, I have a phone call to make until they finish this part. So whatever you do at the behavioral level to give skills, coaching, interest, whatever, it is not interest. It's not interesting for these people. It's not an area of interest. So the development here is to show the impact of the concept of this variable on their own life. What is the impact? Why is it important? What are the symptoms of neglecting these areas? Measures that appear in the yellow area, it means they appeared at the conceptual level, clearly defined, and accordingly I'm motivated to do them, but they are not clearly displayed at the behavioral level. And it happens for many reasons. It can be training needs. It can be company culture. It can be like, I don't think it will be appreciated with these people. It can be for other reasons, like I was busy doing other things. I neglected them unintentionally. But at the end of the day, they are not clearly displayed at the behavioral level. Green areas, this is what we say, these are the unique personal strengths for individuals, and the core competencies for companies. And many companies, when we generated the organizational culture report, they updated the core competencies based on these green areas. Green means it appeared at the 4 levels. So they are clearly defined, motivated to do them. Behaviorally, they are displayed with efficiency, and the indicators up at the performance level reflect that they are effective by bringing the expected results. And this is why we say that they are accurate. And all the green areas are unique personal strength. Blue areas, it's a little bit tricky because it's the comfort zone. So these variables appear with efficiency at the behavioral level, but on the long term, they do not bring the expected outcome or the expected results. Usually, if it's not too far from the 120, we don't consider them as an opportunity to improve. But if things exceed the 150%, they appear in the red area. Areas that cause stress for individuals and for companies. And what does that mean? It means that they are clearly understood at the conceptual level, and we have a strong motive to make things happen. But what makes it a stress, they are not comprehensive enough to happen naturally at the behavioral level. And the more you try to push, the more you face resistance and the more you find other like negative impact. So these are the four colors that appear in each report. It is just like you give the unique personal data or personal systems thinking or system dynamics for every individual case, either individual or company, in a way that makes them see the hidden opportunities either in the gray or yellow area or in the blue area or in the red area. They are connected together so you can understand and identify clearly how things can be working by operating at the system level, not at the behavioral level. Some examples, if I would like to highlight, I would say we worked for companies for change management, and the first question from the cultural perspective, what should be changed and how it can be changed. Companies put a lot of investments at the behavioral level, like marketing campaign, training programs, development, trying to make things happen, but they don't happen. But when you reveal what's happening at the cultural level, you realize that the meanings are different, concepts are not clearly defined. So you give the companies like a comprehensive solution instead of focusing at the behavioral level. Other companies made the analysis for leadership development, and we usually realize that people have everything. They have the knowledge, they have the skills, they are highly qualified, they know strategic management, strategic objectives, decision making, problem solving. So what is the hidden part? The gauges. How do they see things? Are they overestimating the decision making at the expense of understanding the accurate or estimating the resources with accuracy? Are they over focusing on the feedback at the expense of meeting, for example, employees' feedback? Are they over focusing on setting strategic objectives at the expense of the timely decision making? Because you realize also why things slow down at some points. A company, for example, they had a problem with meeting the strategic objectives on time. You're usually behind in like 2-3 years. Sometimes they modify them. And interestingly, when they bring consultants to talk, even if I'm the best consultant, I will only use my previous experience or different best practices from different industries. So they suggested that they need to adjust or refine setting the strategic objectives. But when we go through the organizational culture as a complex system, you realize that the reason for not meeting the strategic objectives on time is because there is a slow in the timely decision making. So they take too much time in making a decision, and that slows down the overall performance of the company. Another case, it was for innovation.
Muhammad, can you give more example about this, please? Maybe from one of your clients or one of your folks that you worked with.
Well, what I can say generally, people focus at the behavioral level in every society. I mean, I experienced different cultures in different companies, different societies. In most societies, we focus at the behavioral level. If you look fine with skills, you fulfill our expectations, you are perfect. If we need you to do more, we focus on your behavior. You should learn that, you should over-focus on that. This is how we do things. But we underestimate the importance of the attitude or the culture, things underneath. When it comes to conflict management or leadership development, you cannot neglect these two lower levels. The conceptual level, where we have our beliefs, our understanding, and the motives, the drives. The over-focus here on the behavioral level is really like a tricky part. I can give an example. We had someone who had, in one of the companies, he had something in the blue area, and we told him that these blue areas are perfectly on the short term. For example, if I'm going to find a job, you are coaching me to find a job, it's a skill. You show me how to make my CV, how to apply, how to select the companies, how often should I apply. This is skills. Acquiring the skills make me succeed at the short term, not on the long term. I can succeed even in passing the interview, accepted in the company, but they don't like me on the long term. In relationships, it's the same. People display communication skills, nice interaction, and so on. But blue areas are only skills without effectiveness. They don't bring the expected results. Is that clear, the difference between skills and effectiveness, or efficiency and effectiveness?
Maybe if you give another example, Muhammad, maybe that's going to help. I think there is some question here or something in the chat. Just let me check. Yeah. Okay, we'll check that nail again. Thank you. I think again, if you can maybe give more, you know, clear example about some of what organizations use this to hire people. I think you this is what you've been doing before, like some organization when they are hiring executives or leaders,
Yes.
they
Okay.
would ask you to come and do the assessment for them, and based on that, then they can either hire or not hire. So can you give us a little bit of maybe just example without definitely sharing any confidential information about your clients?
Okay, and it's not confidential, it's just like some cases with from different companies. So this is how we see the company, how we see people individually. A system dynamic, of course, affect relationships. So this, if you can see the companies, there is a difference. We have two diagrams here. The blue area or the blue diagram is the organizational behavior. But look at the organizational culture, which is the red diagram, is the collective perceived value and feeling towards each of these variables. And if we go deeper, you realize that the companies behave in a way, but the perceived value of each of these behavior in a different way. We have two measures in each variable. You have, for example, here, the bar charts is the organizational behavior, and this is what we see, what we observe, what we experience on daily basis. But if you see the background is the culture, it's how we feel towards each of these variables. As an example, this company, they have valuing resources in the blue area, 129 appears in the blue area, efficiently done. They show the resources, how valuable they are. Thank you, you are really great people. Your skills are fantastic. You are doing a great job. Thank you for today. But the perceived value is 57%. It's closer to the gray area. So this gap is a hidden opportunity. So what's the impact of that? High rate of turnover. If you act with justice among the employees, you're just like not accepted in the culture. So this is an example. Another example I can say here, for example, tendency to add a unique value, 68%. But they work perfectly as a professional value added. So what happens when companies over-focus or focus even perfectly and adding a professional value at the expense of the uniqueness? Is the competition. You are suffering from high level of competition. Because uniqueness minimizes competition. Competition comes from similarity. If we both provide the same service at the same level, we compete against each other. The more we tend to add a unique value, the less the competition in the field. So here are many examples. For example, activated area of expertise, it's in the blue area. We show our area of expertise efficiently, perfectly, but it's not so effective. It's not perceived as a value in the company by the employees. The impact of these things can lead to high rate of turnover, can lead to lack of innovation. Different examples can lead to slow down things from happening, like diversity and inclusions, where companies struggled to do it for like 2 to 3 years, putting a lot of investment. But when you understand the real causes, how people realize things, how they feel, you realize that there is a unique system for each company. Without having enough awareness of this system dynamics, you are just struggling at the behavioral level. When companies hire, how do they hire people? They hire people, and if you ask any HR director, we need someone who fits in the culture. But when companies used this organizational culture analysis, they didn't want someone to fit in the culture. For example, if we have a problem in the unique value added, we don't want someone who has the same problem. We don't want to hire someone who cannot work under ambiguity like us. We need someone to improve our ability to work under ambiguity. We need someone who improve our ability to influence people. So this creates like a new level of hiring new people, especially at the executive level or management level. So they try to bring people that have green in these areas that we need to improve in the company. Without this awareness, what happens? We always want people who looks like us, which is not the best thing. If we have something wrong, they are wrong like us. If we over focus on something, they over focus. If we neglect something, they neglect the same.
That's good to know, Muhammad, because again, some folks think that hiring is all about them and their skills and their ability to deliver a good interview, but sometimes the hiring decision is not aligned to that specifically. I want to also bring Coach Mo here. I know that you might have some insights about this, or Neil, if you want to share what you've been observing from the company that you've been working with, regarding this kind of assessment to the organization or the culture.
I would say before and after. Before having this organizational culture analysis, understanding the gaps between how we behave and the perceived value of each of these variables, companies used to hire people according to the cultural fit. Yeah, skills and these things, the easy parts usually written on the CV, but we make interview, we let them meet their potential managers or potential teams to see how there is a chemistry or not, how they are accepted in the company. So this is how they used to do. When we started to work with them in analyzing the organizational culture, now they started to go up, upgrading the awareness of the company culture. So the hiring is completely different. You hire people who has green in the green areas that we have, but if we have gaps, we need people to improve our gaps. And we hire them consciously, giving them the space that we have these people to improve, for example, the communication in the company, the effective use of resources, the timely decision making, the innovation. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Folks, I don't know if you cannot raise your hand, you can just maybe unmute yourself and ask question. We have
a sorry. It looks like I somehow got a preview version of Teams now. I don't know how that happened. Can I ask a question right now, or just make a comment?
Go ahead.
Yeah. So I was, so just as some background, I was a former geology economist, switched to tech 30 years ago, and then ended up retiring from Microsoft as a technology strategist. And so I've worked with many teams. I've worked with some big companies and stuff. And so these are all really interesting. I'm not quite sure how they translate into hiring and action and things. But one of the biggest things you said was, when everybody looks the same, you always have the same ideas. Yes and no. I find a lot of the biggest problems that I saw was who was the leader had to be extremely sensitive to different cultures and different people in a room who were giving ideas. So it was always really easy for the louder ones, the more extroverted ones, the more aggressive ones, to always have a say at a meeting. With your time, a half an hour, whatever, you start running out of time fast. They also tend to be, certain people have this ability to be very persuasive, whether they're exactly right or wrong. Leadership that I notice with a failing in leadership at times, and it's just people, and they get tired like everybody else, is pointedly making sure you're getting the opinions of people in the room who may be quieter, a different culture. You may have to take them aside and ask them privately, what is it you really think about that? Let me understand, because some people will not share an opinion. They think there's going to be blowback. They think they might feel stupid. So it is incredibly important for any leaders to really be ultra sensitive to that if they're truly interested in getting a balanced view across their team. Like I said, I've witnessed very aggressive people in meetings, and I was looking at them going, you are absolutely wrong about this, but all right. And then what happens is people just stop talking. They will not participate. Everybody thinks, as they say, silence means ascension. So that was just from my experiences. So I fully support, diversity in a group to get various opinions. They'll think of things that you'll be tunnel vision. They'll think of something you won't even come across. And I think it's important to make sure they can say those things.
I would say that how I look like behaviorally is no sign of anything. I mean, either I'm so assertive, aggressive, or I'm calm. That does not mean I'm skillful or smarter or better than others.
Exactly.
Some people are really very quiet, and when we miss them, when we lose them, we get it like a shock. What? Did they leave? And some people are really very sure, extrovert, assuring everything they say with strong self-confidence. But it's just like misleading. And we know that things are just like nicely being said, but it's not really what's happening. So,
Exactly.
yes, exactly. So let me first say what we mean by culture. When we don't mean by culture that people are coming from different cultures, different countries, but we speak about the company culture.
Mhm.
So if we have two IKEA, one in Stockholm, one in Göteborg or Gothenburg, they are completely two different cultures. Like banks. A bank in New York is different than the same bank in, for example, Manhattan. How culture are formed is the history, the stories that we went through together that formed our understanding of the good employee, the good manager, our collective understanding of our management, the salary, the product, the market, the future, whatever it is in the company. So what is happening is we always assess behavior because this is the only thing that we have access to. But when we talk about leaders do not operate at the behavioral level. If I share my experiences with interviewing like thousands of people from different cultures, different industries, all over the world, I would say that the good leaders were operating at the system level. The better they have that understanding of the connectivity in their context, they are leading, even if they don't appear behaviorally with that self-confidence. And I would say the ones who really struggled with challenges, a lot of competitions, a lot of problems internally in the team are leaders who are focusing at the behavioral level, like focusing on the feedback, on achieving the results, on being on time, on these things. They are not leaders. You are not supposed to think of these things unless it's a phenomena. And you cannot solve it through like focusing on it directly by understanding its cause-effect relationships. So I would say that we are different. What we display as a behavior is not a sign of anything. Some people are really looks so nice, but they are the worst. Some people are really like passive, but they are the smarter or the most effective people in the company. Assessing these things like improving or developing someone, you cannot develop my skills only. Maybe I have the skill, but I do not display it. Maybe I have the skill, but I'm not interested in putting in the workplace. Maybe I'm over-focusing, which is the tricky part. Like here, for example, some people have activated area of expertise in the blue area. Sometimes it reaches the red area. It means I see things perfectly from my area of expertise, or between brackets, I would say only. That means I don't consider other professional perspectives that form the same or see or view the same problem or the same project. Did I answer your question?
Yes, thanks. Coach Mo, I think you wanted to say something.
No, I'm just trying to draw parallels from what Mohammed is sharing about the model itself, and some things from the models that we, even if we map to our day-to-day job hunt, we find us doing it. Like, for example, he spoke about the concept of the efficiency and effectiveness when we go for our job hunt, and we're doing all the steps that should be done in our perspective to get a job, but we're not effective because the job is not attained, right? So I'm applying online, I'm fixing my resume and all the stuff, I'm doing that, but something is behind the scene, a blind spot, where there are certain blind spots that are missed, but that result in lack of effectiveness in closing on a job. That's one parallel. Mohammed, if you can go to the effectiveness and efficiency slide, right? The other thing, and I talked to Mohammed a lot offline about the authenticity of doing something, and how authentic are you in doing what you're doing, right? So sometimes, for example, in the job hunt journey, I ask people, why are you doing this? Why are you doing such a thing? Right? They say, because everybody else told us to do it, right? So there's an agreement to do these things, which is some Muhammad referred to. The people are agreeing that this is best practice, and I am bringing the best practice to my skin or myself, and it's not working. Because it might not work because as Muhammad was saying, I'm a unique individual. When I look at my profile, how I built in throughout the last 25 years of my career. So I'm built in a way that the best practice might work for me and might not work for me. So that's where he also referred to customized solution, right? Best practice does not work in a complex scenario. Today's job hunt is very complex. 10 years ago, if you look, the way you found a job is completely different from how you're going to find a job today. I like to refer to as before it was one dimension or two dimensional, 1D, 2D, but today the job hunt is 4D. Very complex, right? You have to take care of or you have to run multiple threads together, right, to be able to land that job. So it's not straightforward. And then we hear people again saying, well, I'm doing this because that. Yeah, okay, that's fine. Everybody says that, but that does apply to you. How do you know that piece of advice, that best practice, really fits in your case? No, there was no investigation for it. I'm just doing it because everybody else is doing it, right?
Actually, it's a two-way problem, Mahmoud. I mean, from me as a job seeker on one side, on the other side, as a recruiter in the company, it's also more complex than ever before. We hire people, we think that their CV is wonderful, they did a great job before. When we get them, we feel, no, they are not really as we thought. It's not like that. It's cultural problem. So we see you according to our culture, local culture in the company. I have seen companies that criticizing someone because he needs to improve his timely decision making. When you see the two reports of the company and of the individual, he is perfect in timely decision making. But the company culture, they are too rushy. They make decisions timely, quickly, but things don't go to the end. So they stop somewhere because of this quick decision. So they think that he needs to improve his decision making. Why? It's 360 degree. Unconsciously, we assess you according to the environment we are in. I mean, the challenge is a two-way, from the company on one side, from the job seeker on the other side.
And that leads us to that concept that you said. It's best practice or quick fixes or anything that is not in depth or has what does he call it, substance into it, could lead to other issues. We doing stuff hastiness or fast just to, we want to do, I call it the quick fix or the quick patch it here and I get a job. And even sometimes when people ask me for the coaching, I said, no, listen, the coaching is not going to be, well, tell me the right thing on the interview or please come fix me this resume, because as soon as I fix it for you, you go to the next roadblock. You're going to hit that next roadblock and get stuck. So are you considering just I jump you over a fence to hit the next fence, or do you want to consider the entire journey from even pre-resume all the way to sitting in that job? And even after sitting in the job, if you're left alone, you don't have a design, you're going to live reactive on this job. And if you live reactive without a design, good luck. You can't control the results. But then reports like this and things that go, I can analyze within myself what happens inside me and how do I behave, because it's very easy to put the blame on somebody else. I'm all good and I'm perfect and I am the angel and everybody around me is the devil that is out there to get me. That attitude is not a productive one on the long run either.
Yes, one thing that you reminded me, the majority are on this side of the pyramid or the model. So they get their meanings, beliefs, understanding of things from the environment or society or culture or industry. They are driven by external motives, either by gain or by pain. They do what they should do, not what they want to do. So they display the skills that are expected. Why? Because when they put that, they think that this will bring the best acceptance from others. And accordingly, they are assessed and being assessed, and the feedback comes from external indicators. And again, external indicators from everyone, family, society, company, manager, customer. They do not assess your success, but they do assess how well you are fulfilling our expectation in this common area. So the awareness of the two sides are really critical and crucial. You are a unique individual. You should add your unique value to every stakeholder you are interacting with. But being here, this is a problem. We are following trends. The majority, this is what happens. They follow trends. They get certifications. They get it. And in life, the interesting thing, behavioral skills, qualifications, education, we can see two identical people with the same experiences, same qualifications, same everything. But when you look at the performance, big variation. They are not succeeding the same. When you go to the motivational level, they feel things differently. When you go to the conceptual level, the differences and the variation is even more than what we can imagine. We use the same words: sustainability, success, vision, decision-making. But how people perceive these things, it's a hidden part.
Neil, I think you had your hand raised. If
Yeah,
question was
be careful not to overcomplicate everything. So just back to Mo's comments about how things are now versus before. There's differences, and I'm a lot older, so I can tell you what the differences are. One of the biggest ones is we didn't have LinkedIn when I was growing up, and a very long time, so I had to go and look through newspapers and had to bang on doors and network like crazy in order to find out if the whole adage that jobs were not all posted was a big deal back then. As well, people say, well, you had it easy because you're a man or whatever. Well, everybody looked like me, so I was competing against everybody else, and I didn't have tech backgrounds either. So and everybody has challenges now and before. Nowadays, LinkedIn's there, and there's all these job posts, but then everybody can see it. So it's a great equalizer, and it can be more complicated. Also, we didn't have those automated filtering systems for resumes, so it was a much more of a personal thing. So to some extent, I think that was probably a lot better back then. They didn't get 1 million resumes in one shot, and you would have probably a better shot at getting an interview because of that.
Yeah.
But what it really broke down to in the end is you're still dealing with people on the interview side. And I've talked to a friend of mine who's a tech recruiter, and simple things like not looking people in the eye. But really, it's practicing how your interview techniques are going to be. It's getting out of the shell of the type of person you might be that doesn't come across well in a remote interview and on a camera. Like, you may be very stoic looking and quiet, and that might put people off. Some people have to be pushed to smile. They have to be pushed to be enthusiastic. But unfortunately, a lot of times it's that stuff that people are looking for. Making sure you're selling your value is such a critical component, and practicing. So career coaches like Ahmed, these are the people that are designed to help and Mo are designed to help people before they get into the interview, before they get into the trap and go, oh my God, that sucks so bad. And that's, to me, I love this model. Actually, it's very interesting. It's a really nice breakdown of how to think about your job search and your career in particular. I think I find that really fascinating. But in the end, you've really got to remember you're dealing with people and how you engage with people. So, and unfortunately, that's a cultural thing. It's an introversion or whatever. I see so many people I know are great candidates, but they come off as really mousy, not confident. They're not sure of themselves, but I can tell. Anyways, it's so important to practice and work on those interview skills, because once you get that interview, you need to sell yourself badly. That's my rant.
Yeah, thanks.
I agree 100%, because actually I need to see also, if I add to what you said, and how long I would stay. Because if I have my own strategy in life, I know how long I'm going to stay in this company.
Yeah.
At least as an estimated time. But what happens, the majority of it, yes, we over-focus on skills until the company say, okay, Maher, thank you very much. It was nice to work with you, but we need to just minimize the labor a little bit.
And that's why Mohammed and Neil, in the interviews, I try to coach people to be who they are authentically in the interview. Don't try to convince the person, because you convince him today, after a month he will discover something else, you're laid off. So it's not a matter of convincing, it's a matter of being aware and portraying who you are genuinely, and you're looking for a match. It's very important. I say that over and over. You're not looking for a job, because today you take a job, after a month I'll let you go, so you didn't do anything. But I want you to look for a match where who you are authentically in the interview matches who they are also authentically on the other side. Now that match is gonna somehow guarantee some sustainability in your job. But they fake, you fake, and after 1 month you discover they are fake, they discover you're fake, and then in less than 6 months you're back into the job market. Now you're gonna tell me, okay, so when I say I be authentic, right? Okay, I still need a job. Your role here is to find, instead of 1 or 2 interviews, to go through 20 interviews to increase your opportunity to meet that match, right? Like, and again, Ahmed, we always joke about this is like marriage and like dating and all this stuff. You can go out on a 5, 6, 7, 8 date, or go look for a spouse, for recycle 10 people before you meet that one that you look at and say, that's the match, that's the one I am safe giving my next few years in life with, right? And I don't know why this wouldn't be the same in a job. This is the company that I am safe giving my next 5 years to, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So Muhammad, just again, because we have 4 minutes and then we normally take the group selfie at the end. What I want to say here today, this topic today is a little bit, tough and a different dimension for some folks. It's a new dimension, and some folks don't really take this into a point. So what we're trying to say here, I think, Muhammad, that companies and organizations, when they are hiring leadership, specifically executives and C-suite, CEOs and executives, they want to make sure that they are a match for what they are looking for, and that's why they do this assessment to those top-notch hires, and they also do this to improve their culture and organization. And that's what you and your company come in to do when they are asking it. So if, for example, if an organization is having a mission and a vision for a certain strategy, but on the ground that's not really what is happening, so that's where you come in and you do this assessment to a sample of that organization, and accordingly you pinpoint those gray areas, those blue, red, and green areas, in order to set up an action plan for that organization to change. So again, based on what I've been seeing in employer that I worked for, there is sometimes some vision. Some leaders tell us that go do something, but on the real work they're asking us maybe to do something else, which sometimes gets confusing, which sometimes get hard for us to focus as employees. So if that happens, maybe again your organization is requiring that kind of alignment between leaders and their vision and the way they apply their vision to the organization. I'll pause here, leave it to you, Muhammad, maybe to put some color on some of those insights after we take the selfie. If you don't mind, maybe let's do the selfie now first, so that people, if they want to drop after 2 minutes, they can do that. So if you can stop sharing the screen, we'll take the group selfie, and then I'll let you answer the questions for anyone who has some questions about this from the group. So if you guys are ready, if you can stop sharing screen, Muhammad, please. Let me see here, the view, gallery. Let's do together mode. So whoever is getting into the screen, it's time to get the selfie, be a celebrity for this call. So just when you're ready, I'll say 1, 2, 3 and smile. So 1, 2, 3 and smile. Awesome. Thank you so much, Muhammad. Thank you so much, everybody who joined us today. I'll give you the chance to ask questions to Muhammad. If you want to unmute yourself or type the question in the chat. Go ahead. Jupiter, do you have questions?
No, I'm good.
Awesome. Okay, no worries. Anyone else? Do you guys have any questions to Muhammad? I'm not seeing any questions. So, Muhammad, do you want to share some of the insights about how organization use this for hiring specifically?
If I would conclude what I say, I would say that every organization has a unique profile that has been formed along its history. On the other side, every single individual is unique enough to come up with their own unique value added in relationships, in companies, in their field, in their career. So do not deny your uniqueness and follow the external motives to show the accepted or what we think will be the accepted or expected skills only works on the short term. Like communication skills, it works perfectly on the short term. I'm buying something from a supermarket, it's very fine to use communication skills. Just eye contact, thank you, nice words, thank you very much, have a good day. But if I'm working with this guy, communication skills is nothing, actually. We need communication quality. It's about the perceived, the mutual value exchange, clear expectations, how we trust each other, how we support each other, how we have the capacity to understand each other's differences, and so on.
So, Muhammad, what you're saying here, maybe that if someone, let's say, is burned out in some specific culture or organization, that same person could be a savior or a hero in some other culture or organization. That's what you're saying here?
In the same culture, but what happens, he's trying to burn out himself or herself to show the cultural fit. It's not the best thing you can do. You can bring a value that we feel fine that they are bringing to us, a new value, something that we did not think about before.
Okay.
Acceptance is not the best thing. I mean, you're not looking for acceptance only. You're looking for being respected for your value added. Because showing respect, we show respect to everyone. But we don't really respect everyone. So these are differences between how we think and how we interact. We show respect to everyone. We interact with communication skills, but do we really respect everyone? To respect someone, it means that I know your qualifications, your experiences, your expertise. So I call you when I have something like to make a decision. What do you think, Ghadir, in this? I have this problem. What do you think? And she can say, okay, I trust her, I respect her. But showing respect, it's nice. We smile. How are you? We have to show respect to everyone. It's okay.
So when you're Canadian, nice, but you're not really nice.
It's everywhere in the world, not only in Canada, everywhere in the world. It's okay.
Okay.
No, yeah.
Awesome. No, this is a good point. Again, I know that this topic is really deep, and it could be really hard for folks to gather this in 1 hour call. And I think, again, you definitely maybe need to taste this assessment and get it personal somehow.
I would say also, Ahmed, sorry. In many cases, they start as a company leadership development, but things go off track. They talk socially. Should I bring my wife to make this? I want my husband to do the same. And I want to attend his session. We need to have a discussion together. So even if because you're talking about people in the company, in whatever it is, people are interested in their own well-being, their own success.
I remember that conversation, Muhammad, we had once, and one of your clients, you shared with me the guy that was burned out in a company, and the company told you that we've already made plans to promote him, and he's going to stay, and you told him that even when you promote him, he's going to leave, and in 6 months he left them, or I think 4 months or something like that, after the promotion.
Yeah, they wanted him to be promoted. They excluded him even from the assessment center because we gave him no ranking. They said, why? We said, actually, we did that to raise some discussion. We said, he's leaving. No way, he cannot leave. He's the best. He's the highest achiever. He's the only one that we told that he would be promoted. We said, according to our analysis, he's not going to stay in the company. He is leaving. In fact, maybe now he's trying to find another place. Okay, exclude him. And they promoted him. He left after 3 months. And they called us back. Why did you say he will leave? It's not a magic. Extremely high level of stress. Stress is an accumulated process. You cannot just accumulate. No, at some point you drop everything and it don't happen suddenly. He's not getting just like, I got a nice offer. No, he's been trying to find another place.
That's interesting. That's interesting. And again, I think that's where human nature is very complex and not as easy as we think it is. And definitely, when we deal with HR and policies and disciplines, sometimes it's hard to find our values. Sometimes it's hard to find what inspires us, what motivates us to shine. So that's why, again, some good people leave organizations when they feel stressed or burned out after some point of time. Because again, money is not the reason anymore. It's not even the title or the salary or the benefits. Sometimes I don't feel myself. Sometimes I don't really want to be here anymore. And there's definitely tons of stories about people who left their corporate job to go for just travel for 6 months to find themselves and then come back and do something totally different. Again, I think Jay Shetty is one of those guys who did that somehow in his book, Live Like a Monk or something like that.
But Ahmed, since we're having all the group here on the call, I want to say that these tools that Mohammed is presenting is not something like fancy. I don't want anyone on the call to think that this is a fancy thing to have. I don't know if you did, Ahmed, but I took the report with Muhammad, and I could see for myself these things are real. I could see for myself where the areas that I am neglecting or I'm leaving potential on the table, that I could work on these areas. And I also saw where the areas that I'm spending so much effort that it's not yielding the results that are expecting. So that's that first start of awareness of how are you operating doesn't usually come automatic. I wake up in the morning and I do stuff, right? And I keep the next morning I will wake up and I'll do the same stuff, right? And day after the same stuff. Okay, why? Because I'm used to doing that. But never, sometimes you stop and say, hang on, let me check whether I'm going to the right direction. And Mohammed was saying, effective or not. I could be in Toronto, and my intention is to go to Ahmed in Ottawa. And I start driving. I find myself in Montreal. I'm not even going to Ottawa. I'm still driving, right? I'm still doing the same thing I did for the last 5 hours. I was driving, except I'm not driving to the direction I wanted to go. I'm still driving, but I'm driving somewhere else. So it's very important to start looking at inside ourselves. And here's the thing: to be a normal human being, you can blame everybody around you or put any sort of failure. I can't find a job is because the market is bad. I can't find a job because Canada's economy suck, right? I can't find a job because blah, blah. It's very easy to put anything outside external and leave it there because it doesn't leave me any action. If it's the market and Canada, then I am good and I don't have anything to work on. But when you take such reports and look inside you find tons of things that I can work on, and I don't have to even look outside and blame anybody. I can just still work on myself and try to see where I can improve and which opportunity I'm missing so that I can harness these opportunities. As simple as that.
Good point, Coach Mo. Thank you. So I think we'll leave it there today. I just again want to thank Mohammed for his great insights, and thanks everybody for joining. We hope this is a good investment of your time, and you're getting some insights on some actionable things to do here for your journey, for yourself, for your career. Just want to highlight two things for the next week. We have a great session this Wednesday, 3 p.m. Eastern, with Patrick Lyons. He's a product manager in Microsoft. He used to lead products with Microsoft, and he's now doing his own side hustle. So if you are working 9 to 5 and you want to create your own side hustle, he's now a fitness coach with 40 million views on YouTube, TikTok, and others, and he's doing amazing job in his own space as well. So if you want to learn how to do this, join us this Wednesday, 3 p.m. Eastern. You can just go to Future Career page on LinkedIn. You will find the event. You can just subscribe and register, and you'll get the invite. And we'll have this also live on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook. The other thing, we have a job fair which is viral for next week, Wednesday. We have almost 5,000 people registered so far. That's huge. We have good speakers, recruiters, hiring managers who are tuned in to join next week, Wednesday, July 30th. So definitely try to join us at that time and bring your friends. This is open, free for everybody. We're trying to get as many hiring managers, recruiters, and also career professionals to help. We have Matt, his job search academy head of Indeed. He's going to come and speak. We have also Karen Engo. She's CEO and comms and operations with Microsoft. We have Liz Tesh, who's a cybersecurity CSA with Microsoft. Again, we have a lot of great speakers, lots of nice recruiters too, who will give you good wisdom and insights, and some other startups and Y Combinator folks who are joining. So again, this is free, open for everybody. Coach Mo, Nil, you're also welcome to join. Your wisdom is always appreciated with this community. Anyone else who wants to join, that would be great. Muhammad, I want to give you the chance to leave with your final words, whatever you want to share with this group before we end up here.
I would say life is very unique. You are very unique. Life is a very personal journey towards success. Take it with sense of ownership. That makes you in charge of everything. You'll be able to modify, fine-tune, make decisions. Even if they are wrong, correct your decisions, recorrect, and recorrect along the way.
Thank you, Muhammad. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Muhammad.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Stay positive, stay proud, and your job is out there, your dream is out there, and we'll be happy to have you in future calls. Neil, Coach Mo, any final words before we leave?
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you for your presence and making this possible.
Thank you. Take care.
Excellent session. Thanks for coming, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Have a good one.